What going on with you? How's everybody doing this Saturday? It's been a rainy Saturday. All Saturday for me. Welcome to Buckles Locker. Subscribe to the channel. Share all the videos. Don't forget to hit the notification bell icon to notify you on new videos that's posted on this channel. Shouts out to all the Pirates and Sea Bandits. We are here. We are gathered here today to talk about season recap. The Bucs finished the season 9-8. We're gonna try to summarize this past season all up in this conversation in the locker room. Interesting conversation. We're gonna hit all the areas of the team. No stone will be not turned over in this conversation. So that means your favorite player, your favorite coach will be talked about in a good and also the other side of the conversation. Everything can't be always good, right? We got to uncover everything. I don't care who it is. Front office, ownership, quarterback, running back, receivers, O-line, D-line, linebackers, safety, slot, nickel, punter, field goal kicker, coaching staff. Everybody needs to be brought up in this conversation. There will be no exceptions. I don't care who you like. Okay? I want to make some of you guys got a favorite player on the team and you can't talk about him. Guess what? I am going to talk about him in a good light, but also I'm going to add context because everybody on this team did not play well for the most part. And I'm going to try to wrap this up. I don't want to spend a ton of time on one player. I'm going to try to get through this as quick as possible. Okay? Give everybody an opportunity to get in. I was supposed to make this video earlier, but I was cleaning today and doing some studying, some self-knowledge, growth, 2019. I've been around since 2016, man. I've been around since 2016. I do this because I like talking about football. I do not do this for attention or fame or clicks and views or narratives or acting goofy, making goofy videos and trying to be, get cool with the social media, team, like in high school, you had the cliques in high school, like the cool kids. I don't make videos for that. I am an authentic guy, And those of you that's been around this channel for, several years, you should know how this works, right? Yeah, if I wanted to go viral, if I wanted to go do all that, it's easy to do that, folks. There's a algorithm. There's things that I can do that other guys are doing. Make shock value videos, clips, comments. It is so easy to do. I've seen other channels, not just Bucs channels, but channels from other fan bases. They try to go viral and they're looking for attention. And it's easy to do. I had several opportunities to go viral. Easy. But that's just not my personality. I'm a laid back guy. If you like my channel, you genuinely like my channel. You know what I'm saying? You don't like my channel because I do goofy stuff. Or I say shock value stuff. Or I'm attacking a player and saying some outrageous stuff or attacking a fan base doing crazy. You know what I'm saying? I don't do that stuff, man. I try to promote a healthy mindset, a reality mindset, add context, everything, so, but let's get to it though. Let's get to it. We got you in the building. We got Fred in the building. We got Buccaneer fan 1225. Fire the Cannons, go Bucs. Cameron Hodges in the building. Oh, you know DC traffic? Oh, trust me. Oh, I know all about DC traffic. I lived there for a year. My goodness, $2.95, $3.95, $4.95. Was it a Woodrow Wilson Bridge or something like that? That bridge they were still building on back in 2006 and 7. Quantico, Arlington, Stratford, Ooh, Manassas. Lord Jesus. In my bootsy voice. Lord Jesus. What's up, my boy? Byron, I see you, man. Josh, what's up, man? Sean, what's up, buddy? I ain't seen you in a minute, man. Where the hell you been at? Huh? You've been dipping and dodging. Oh, Jizzle. You've been dipping and dodging. Oh, Jizzle. I don't want to hear that. 1, 2, 3. But yeah. Bucs fanatic. What's up, man? Lord Jesus. They still building on that bridge, man. That need to be a 12-lane highway, man. That whole beltway, man. It's ridiculous. Them tolls over there trying to get off in Arlington. My gosh. It's a lot of money up there, but cost of living is expensive as hell. But anyway, let's get to it. We got some stuff to talk about. Matter of fact, let's get to the current situation before we dive into the recap. So the current situation for the Bucs, a lot of stuff has been going on with the Bucs. Lord Jesus. Do you hear me? Coach is retiring. Coach is leaving. Got a new OC now. People pushing narratives again. It's almost like the Bucs. This is similar to last offseason, but just a lot more going on. Right? And I say that to say this. Well, at least we got Tom Moore coming back, right? The 85, 86-year-old offensive consultant stays on the team. The Bucs are in a transitional process. I thought last year was a transitional year, but it looks like it's going to carry over to the 2024 season. The Bucs are in transition again. So I got to recalculate and recalibrate what I think about going into the 2024 offseason. Right? I thought that we was ready to build on what we had, the success we had, 9-8, winning the division. Yes, we backed into the playoffs. Yes, we tied for the divisional lead, but we had the tiebreaker and all that stuff like that. So, it was like the arrow was pointing up, right? For Todd Bowles and Dave Canales and Baker Mayfield, everything was pointing up. And boom, we get hit with this stuff. Dave Canales the first news of Dave Canales. He takes the head coaching job to the Carolina Kitty Cats. And now they over there pushing narratives. I was watching a couple of their channels, man. I couldn't make it. I could not make it through their channels, folks. Fred, what's up, man? A-Rod. A-Ron? I couldn't make it through the Panthers channels. I was just trying to watch their channels. And I'm not going to say their names. There's a few channels that I just can't do it. I can't do it. Like, there's one particular channel. I just, I don't even match his lifestyle. I don't even match how he talks. That we have nothing in common at all. And this is no hate on it. We don't line up. We on two different terrains, and I love football, and I've listened to other channels just to get some insight on what they got going on, especially with the NFC South. And I can't do it, man. Some channels I just can't do it. And I wanted to see the reaction of the Panthers fans with the Dave Canales hiring. It's been lukewarm. Some channels are pushing narratives. Some channels kind of like they trying to dig and do their research because they don't really know nothing about him. They trying, right? So there's some channels are being ridiculous about it, pushing, talking about Mike Evans going over there and all this stuff. It's like, man, shut up. Just pushing ridiculous narratives because they're trying to make themselves feel good. And, I wish Dave Canales was the best. But let's get back to the Bucs. But Dave Canales was not done. He plucks 2 more guys from the coaching staff. Actually, 3 more. Brad Isaac goes over there to be OC, but Dave Canales will be called in plays, right? Then he takes Harold Godwin and Joe Gilbert along with him, which is interesting. The fact that he took those 2, those are Bruce Arians guys. So for whatever reason, the camaraderie, the connection that Canales built with Harold Godwin and Joe Gilbert was great enough for those two guys that's been around Todd Bowles for years. And they meet Dave Canales for one season and they jump over there to the division rival. Do you know the ramifications of that, folks? Do you know what that means? Do you know the picture that it paints for the Bucs organization in specifically Todd Bowles? These guys been around Todd Bowles in Arizona and in Tampa since 2019. And to up and leave to go coach under a guy that you just met in 1 year. What's up, Jonathan? Malik, what's up? Young Deezy, baby. Do y'all understand how this works? Remember when I told y'all about relationships? Harold Godwin and Joe Gilbert would never be head coaches. Did they get tired of working under Todd Bowles or working with Todd Bowles? Did they get tired? Was it fatigue? Did they not see this organization? Did they value the Panthers organization as far as where they're going versus where they've been at? Let me tie this into a real life scenario. Maybe y'all can understand this. You can work at a job for several years. And it's okay. And then you get a job offer that you can't turn down. What do you choose? Loyalty or money? Did Harold Godwin and Joe Gilbert leave the Bucs for money? Because you can't say loyalty because they only met Canales for 1 year. But in terms of real life scenario, if you're in a situation like that and you at a job that you're kind of so-called comfortable, but there is no arrow pointing up, there's no clear direction, but you just been there for a while because you got comfortable. You got comfortable with the people you work with, supervisors, the team leads, your peers, your colleagues, the management team. And, it's not bad, but you like the job. But then you get an email from a company saying, hey, we would like to interview you. And you interview with that company, and this company gives you everything you asked for and a higher ceiling with earning power, upwards mobility. You go back after the interview, sit there and you think about it. Should I stay with the company? Should I stay with the company I've been loyal to for 7, 8, 9, 10 years? Or do I go for a change of scenery with a new path, almost like a higher ceiling? I don't know. And you choose the new job. They're paying you more money. And you I like it. Why not? It's almost like a why not decision. So to compare this into a real life scenario to what happened with the Bucs coaching staff with Brad Isaac, that's a relationship situation. Harold Godwin, Joe Gilbert, to up and leave like that. Remember, you don't owe anybody anything. When you're working for a company, yeah, you work for the company, but they also need your services. Loyalty is not given. It's earned, right? Companies don't show loyalty. They will fire you in a heartbeat. They will get rid of you and replace you with somebody else. You don't owe a company loyalty, and they don't owe you loyalty. So for Harold Godwin and Joe Gilbert, they've been with the Bucs since 2019. And then 5 years later, they leave. What does that tell you? If you have an opportunity, and I don't know the intricate details on the decision they made, and it's none of my business. But I'm going to take a guess at this. A part of it was they just got tired of it. They got tired of the environment. They've been knowing Todd Bowles for several years. Maybe they just got tired. What's up, you wish? Happy for Canales, man. Mexican. He's mixed, right? He's like Mexican, and he's mixed with it. So, but his background, and he has Mexican. Ron Rivera, Dave Canales. Shout out to them. We need more. We need more ethnicities, right? We need more different type of coaches, different type of backgrounds. I know we got the generic coaches, right? We got the typical good old boy club, right? But we need more. We need more different flavors, man. And I encourage that. I want to see a Asian coach, right? Tired of seeing the typical, 80% NFL driven type coaches, right? But I ain't finna go into that. That's too deep for y'all. We're not even on that. But let's get back to the loyalty situation. Maybe they just got tired of Todd Bowles in his direction. Maybe it became white noise. And they got tired of it, and they realized this ain't going nowhere. Mopar Buck, Mr. Toxic Black in the building, DJ in the building. That's my guess. They was like, forget loyalty. I done showed enough loyalty. I don't want to work under Jason Light. I don't want to work with Todd Bowles. I don't see this thing going anywhere. And I like what Dave Canales is doing. That's what they probably had in their brain. That's probably one of the reasons why they went over there with Dave Canales. You mean to tell me this man talked? He talked to senior level coaches to come with him to an organization, the worst team in the entire NFL, 2-14, don't have a number one pick. He convinced them to go in that situation. I don't even know how Dave Canales did that. That man can talk a good game. Did you listen to the press conference? He can talk. I gotta give it to him. And Sal 319 says snake oil. I don't know what he's selling that fan base and the management team, but he's selling some good stuff. Now for us, he sold us a bill of goods, but it wasn't like peaches and cream over here when we had him at OC. And there's no shot at Dave Canales. The numbers backed it up and tape. We was mediocre at best. Now think about that for a second. Mediocre at best on offense. And I told y'all this going into the season. If your expectation was super high, you're going to be sorely disappointed. And we can go into advanced analytics. I think there was a channel, and I can't remember because I don't even pay attention to these names. And there was maybe there's a platform that was talking about the Bucs offense. Oh, Baker was this and Baker was that and this and that. But they didn't mention points per game, yards per game. They didn't mention, like, they left out a lot of context, and I was listening to it, and I was like, they're not telling the whole truth about the Bucs offense. They only pointed out what they want everybody to know. And Dave Canales, he did what he had to, he did what he could with what the Bucs had offensively. And the Bucs weren't even average on offense. They were below average. Matter of fact, they were 20th in the NFL in scoring. It's 32 teams. 16 is average. So anything below 16, you're below average. Do you understand how math works? 32 divided by 32 divided by 12. 32 divided by 16. Excuse my numbers here. 32 divided by 16 is 16, right? So if there's 32 teams, if you rank 16, you're average. Anything below 16, no matter how you cut this, Baker was top 10 in touchdowns, and this and that, and this and that. The Bucs had really good games against the Green Bay Packers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Bucs were below average offensively across the board, and they were terrible running the ball again for the second straight year. And then even the previous years, they were bottom 10. That's what I try to tell y'all. Y'all were trying to hype it up, trying to put this man over Byron Leftwich. He didn't do better than Byron Leftwich. Okay, so we're gonna pick out 2022 to make the point. Oh, but Byron Leftwich, he was not here for only 1 year. Byron Leftwich got here in 2019. So when you talk about Byron Leftwich and Dave Canales, you got to average Byron Leftwich total tenure, and you average that out and you compare it to Dave Canales' one season. And guess what, folks? He's not better than Byron Leftwich, despite the fact that in 2022 the Bucs were terrible for the most part. But guess what? On average, he can't even hold Byron Leftwich's jock strap. Michael Alexander, what's up, man? What's up with Derek Carr and Michael Thomas, man? They going tick for tack? So don't give me this. Dave Canales did so much, so he did so different. He did all this different stuff, and the Bucs were still bottom 12 in scoring points and yards, 31st in running ball. So that's what Byron Leftwich did when he was in 2022 with an old washed-up Brady, pretty much. Don't let them numbers fool you what Brady had. It was inflated. Garbage yards, a lot of garbage yards. And they went 9-8. So the next season they go they went 8-9, and the next season they go 9-8. A 1-game improvement. So both years you won the division with basically an average record. One was an average record, and the other one is like slightly below. So 2 years in a row you won the division. Your points per game went up, but you won 1+ game. And offensively, it wasn't no huge jump at all. Okay. So when we go back and look at the coaching staff, and I told y'all this going into last season, this is a transitional year. I believe, in my opinion, we overachieved. With the roster we had so many new players. We went from one of the oldest rosters to the 7th youngest roster. Okay? Yeez, what's up, man? D. Tawan Davis, what's up, man? I'm just saying. So I didn't expect the Bucs to win 9 games. That was their ceiling. If you go back and watch my video, I said between 7 and 10. I chose 7 and 10. I chose the lower half. I chose the floor. I didn't choose the ceiling. But there was no way, shape, fashion, or form that the Bucs were a 10, 11, 12 win team. No way, no how. I don't even know where you get that at. Some people had the Bucs winning double digits, and they went on a double-digit winning team. You saw the games. So going into the season, I didn't have a lot of faith in the Bucs, so they surprised me in some areas, right? And we'll get to all this in a second, but back to the coaching staff. So now we lost our OC, we lost the assistant head coach, the run game coordinator, we lost the O-line coach. I didn't think too much of Joe Garrett anyway. And maybe this was a Todd Bowles decision. Maybe it was a Jason Light. Maybe they got pushed out. I don't know. And then turn around, Keith Armstrong, which I do not like. I am so glad he retired. So now the Bucs coaching staff has holes in it as well, just as the roster. This is not a good thing going into the offseason. It's not good. What's up, Bucs Life? All caps. DJ. Is that DJ from the Street Fighter? This is not good, folks. Keith Armstrong is gone. So the Bucs, not only the roster got holes, free agent wise, position wise, or position group wise, also they got holes in the coaching staff. What quality team got that situation going on right now? The Bucs got a lot of questions that need to be answered. Quarterback, receivers, running back, tight end, interior O-line, outside pass rusher, linebacker position, cornerback position, and coaching staff. I'm just saying, folks. The Bucs got too many holes, and I can't even give a early prediction on the record, because if I had to choose a record right now in this position right now, I wouldn't even have them winning 9 games, and that's just me. Too many holes. Now we got a lot of off-season work, a lot of off-season conversation, right? Senior Bowl just happened, East-West game. I got a chance to catch some highlights, some good prospects I've seen already. I will do some deeper dive in that. There's a particular defensive tackle that can play up, and he can play the 5 technique, the 3 technique, the 0 technique. I think his name is Darius Robinson from Missouri. The Bucs really need to look at him. They really need to look at a guy like that. Flash Gordon, what's up? Darius Robinson from Missouri. He is or what's his name? DeAndre Sweat from Texas. They really need to get something on that D line, man. The more I was watching those guys, the Senior Bowl highlights, and it was just highlights, and I'll go back and watch their tape. But those two guys, man, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, and it's either way. And I was, and I there, and there's a center, Powers Johnson. What's his name? Ben Powers Johnson, something like that. Uh, Johnson Powers something. It's a center. He's pretty good. You know, they really need to look at that. There's a tackle that can slide into guard. I think he's from the tackle from Oregon State, the right tackle. He played right tackle at Oregon State, but he can slide in to play guard. They really need to look at they really need to look in the trenches. They really need to look at the trenches. Yeah, Jackson's Power Johnson. Yes. Man, that dude can play center and guard. He's versatile like that. They really need to look at the trenches on both sides of the ball. Seriously. And I know people talk about Luke Gedeke. He made an improvement, but I hate to say this, folks, but I would not be surprised that it will be probably 3 or 4 guys that we pass up on that's going to be better than him with a higher ceiling. But he can keep developing. But I'm just telling you how it works. I'm just telling you, he's going to year 3 for Luke Gedeke, and I'm pretty sure there's some guys from last year, and there's some guys from this year coming into the draft that's going to be better than him right away. I'm just saying, but I wouldn't concentrate on right tackle. Our focus is the interior of the O-line. There's a couple guys that I've seen. I will be doing videos on them. And every year there's guys in the draft that's going to be better than guys that we got on the team already. It happens, right? But getting back to the Bucs situation, and you look at my hashtag, it says hashtag transitional year in 2024. I'm already looking at it like this. And it's unfortunate because I did not want to look at the Bucs in a transitional year again. Remember when they said we're not reloading, we're not reloading, retooling. Folks, does this not look like a rebuild? Like a rebuild on the fly? Does this not look like that? Coaching staff and roster wise. They started last year. Did Jason Light sell us snake oil in my Sal voice? And Michael Alexander, you better not touch him. I want him to drop to the Bucs at 28 or 26. I'm sorry. Did Jason? He said we are reloading. We're not rebuilding. What? Well, what Bucs fans, Powers and Seamans, you tell me what this look like. This don't look like no contending team. We're not contending for anything with all these holes and question marks. This looked like a rebuild on the fly, and they're trying to cover it up. If you couldn't tell by last year with all those young guys that came on the team, they had to get rid of some terrible contracts, and they got contracts currently on the team that are not looking good moving forward. I'm just saying, this is kind of a rebuild on the fly. They had 13 guys, rookies, undrafted, that made it to the roster because of the terrible decisions that Jason Light. See, here's the thing. When I talk about season recap, the decisions that Jason Light made in previous years are biting him in the butt right now. We didn't plan for the future. I told y'all this. Go back and watch my 2020 video. I get it, going all in and running it back. You got to, and you cannot miss on draft picks. When you miss on draft picks and you put a ton of money in a position group, you hurt the rest of the roster. When you put over $45 million in the receiving group and you still not in the top 16 in scoring, you're not making the right decisions. You're putting too much money in a position group. What team is doing that? All the band-aids that Jason Light put on this team, we got a Super Bowl out of it, but now look at the fruits. Where are the fruits on the trees as far as the direction of the franchise? Now Jason Light trying to play catch up now he got to play catch up at receiver, cornerback, interior O-line. He got to play catch up because he missed on draft picks, D-line. This is why I tell y'all this. You can spend all the money you want in the offseason. You can re-sign guys. You can do this. But if you don't draft right, you're going to look like this. When you put a bunch of money in the receiving group and you look at the Bucs scoring offense and it's still bottom 10, bottom 12, then why are you putting all your money in the receiving group? Why are you trying to pay 2 receivers $20+ million? Why do you have a receiver with a salary cap hit of $27 million? Not named Mike Evans. And then you got to turn around and pay Mike Evans. The state of the Bucs is not looking good from a contractual standpoint. And they're going to have some more dead money going into next offseason because they got a couple guys they're going to have to pay. Russell Gage, Ryan Jensen, retired, by the way. Shout out to Ryan Jensen. Big Red, thank you for your contribution. He played for the Ravens. He played for the Bucs. I wish him a healthy afterlife, after NFL life. I hope his knee does not haunt him as he get older. That was a freak injury. By the way, guess who was involved with that? Logan Hall, one of our draft picks that Jason Light straight up missed on. For all the good that Jason Light has done, he's done some mediocre. He's made some mediocre picks and he's missed on some picks. And people refuse to bring that up. They keep talking about Tristan Wirfs and Winfield Jr. and Godwin, but they don't talk about the O.J. Howards, the Devin Whites, the Logan Hall. They don't talk about that. They don't talk about them. They don't talk about those picks. Dude, you keep putting all this money into the receiving group, but it's not translating into scoring a lot of points. Shaq Barrett contract, I told y'all that contract was bad. And I hate to say this on low key, and I like some Chris Godwin. I like Chris Godwin. But that contract he got right now, his cap hit don't match. Roberto Aguayo, Vernon Hargraves, Peyton Barber, Uma Wale. I can go on and on and on with Jason Light's misses. When you miss on picks, you set the franchise back. And that's what he's done. Now, all you hear now is complaining from the Bucs fan base about, oh man, what's going on? Why are we losing players? Why can't we? What? You don't play, you can't miss on draft picks. That's how you build your team. If you build your team through free, you get what you ask for. Keep dumping money into the receiving group and it's not producing points. Why? Don't get me started, Mr. Davis. Yeah, he could have got Jonathan Taylor. For whatever reason, he didn't want to get him. Then you had Bruce Arians convincing us that Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber was really them. So if we're going to talk about the good in Jason Light, we got to talk about the meh and the ugly. That is true, Lightning Films, but guess what? The Bucs running game has been terrible for the last 3-4 years. So I'm glad we got Winfield Jr., don't get me wrong, but what's the problem too, man? Running game. Terrence Montgomery, exactly. EGG, exactly. Robert Anderson, what's up, buddy? Gerard B. Our best running back was Doug Martin, and that had been several years ago. This is what happens when you don't draft correctly, dating back to 2016. 2017 he set the franchise back 2 or 3 years. You can't miss on the entire draft class. We didn't miss on the entire draft class, but you get what I'm saying. You got to play catch up now. 2021 and 2022 draft classes. There was no, where is the elite guys from the 2021 and 2020, the 2021 and the 2022 draft classes? Where are the dogs? We got some, he okay. Man, he okay. You got to be able to hit the 3rd round, 4th round, and 5th round picks, man. You gotta hit those picks now. Like the demands now, it's not about just the 1st and 2nd round now. It's about the 3rd and 4th and 5th round because other teams are finding gems in those rounds, and for whatever reason, Jason Light has been missing them. So going back to the Bucs coaching staff, the state of the Bucs coaching staff. I'm starting there, by the way. Thank you for joining. Make sure you hit the like video. Make sure you like the video. Share the video too. We're getting close to 100 people, but we halfway there. So going back to the Bucs coaching staff, and I didn't want to get into the playoffs right away. I wanted to get back on the coaching staff. I was going to a tangent because I was getting upset a little bit. So the Bucs keep Armstrong retired. They lost a couple of senior guys. So they go hire the Kentucky OC, Kentucky Wildcats OC. He been OC with them twice. Kind of weird too. When you go back and look at his coaching history, he was at Maine for a little bit. He was on the Rams coaching staff with Sean McVay as an offensive assistant. And I've seen a couple of Bucs fans trying to give him all the credit. Like, no, man. Sean McVay is anybody that get hired from the Kyle Shanahan staff offensively or the Sean McVay staff offensively. Do not put a narrative out there like those guys were calling plays or they were really him. No, man. They were just studying Sean McVay. They were studying Kyle Shanahan. That's what they were doing. Offensive assistants, passing game coordinator, stuff like that. They were not calling plays. Even though you understand how this works? You can have the title, but not call plays. Just like Brad Isaac is going to be the OC of the Panthers. Guess who's calling plays? Dave Canales. Guess who calls plays in the San Francisco? Kyle Shanahan. Guess who calls plays for the Rams? Sean McVay. You see how this works? So stop trying to push a narrative that anybody that gets hired from that staff, oh man, they really like that. You don't know that. Just like Dave Canales, they try to push a narrative. Oh, Dave Canales, the reason why Seattle offense was really good, or that Geno's, it was Dave Canales. No, man, it was Shane Waldron. Now, Mr. Cohen, he does have experience calling plays in the SEC. Now, Kentucky, they were not no top-notch offense. I'm an SEC guy, right? They were okay at best. It was not like the thing about college football, so many teams. Kentucky's scoring yards per game, it was nothing to be jumping up and down. It was not terrible. It was not elite. It was not at the highest level. They were good, but let's not push the narrative that Liam Cohen was just he had a ridiculous offense. The offense was, my gosh, it was just awesome. Like it was just, man, no, it wasn't bad, because if it was really like that, he would have been off the shelf. He would have been off the shelf and been picked up a long time ago. So what does that tell you? Just because you pick a fruit from the tree, that does not make the fruit good. Oh, the Rams offense was good when he was there. Yeah, Sean McVay. And then the next season, Stafford got hurt. Cooper Kupp got hurt. because he went to Kentucky to be the OC. The reason why the Rams offense dropped off because he left. Come on, man. Let's not push that BS narrative. What up, Tony? Exactly. Time will tell. Calm down with the OC hiring. Calm the freak down. Calm down. Oh man, he worked with Baker Mayfield. What, for 4 games? 3, 4, 5 games? That ain't telling me nothing. He won the first game, and he got hyped. And then after that, 1-4. 1-4. Did you see the Rams offense when Baker was running it? So let's not get hyped up with this OC hiring. Let it play out. I hate the BS narratives, man. I can't stand them. They're so terrible with these narratives. It's like they just throw stuff out. They just throw sugar, honey, iced tea at the wall and see what sticks. And some of you Bucs fans run along and smell it. It smells good. It smells good because we hired a guy for Sean McVay. Oh, man, we're trying to keep it. Man, y'all got to stop with these narratives, man. Exactly, Lightning Films. When you work for guys like Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, you will not call plays. You got to go somewhere else to call plays. And that's what Liam Cohen did. You thought Sean McVay was going to give him the coaching, the play calling ability? No. Zach Taylor is another one. Dave Canales is about to be one too. He about to be calling plays, but he going to have an OC. It's just a title, folks. With coaches like that, it's just a title. They're not calling plays. For Cohen to get any experience, he had to go to the if he was really like that, let's be honest, folks, he would have been an OC a long time ago. He would have been an OC a long time ago at the NFL level. A team would have swooped him up already. Years. Now, it's not like he's just coming around. He's been around for a minute. Exactly. Non-playable character is equivalent to the OC in today's NFL. Yeah, he's an OC. That's an equivalent to a non-playable character. You can't use him. You want to know why he wasn't coveted? Why was his name out there for the last couple seasons to be an NFL OC? Somebody answer me that question. I'm just trying to give y'all the reality. Stop trying to hype something up that was never there. Do y'all understand what the term of bottom of the barrel means? When you have a list of things that you want to do and you can't do them and you have to opt for the least option. This is the second season in a row that the Bucs had a list of guys that they wanted to talk to, and they end up getting none of those guys. They end up getting a guy that was not on nobody's radar. And there's going to be a few Bucs fans. He was on my radar. Come on. Don't you think if you was that guy, don't you think they'll be knocking down your door to be an OC? All these teams, there's been over 10 teams that need OCs. There has been 10 teams that need OCs. I think, or a total like 16 teams. There's been so much change by the NFL, but the total, there's been, let's say like a total of 16, 17 teams that needed OCs. And 10 spots has been filled. Why was his name on the top of the list of some of these teams? So before we jump into this, trying to hype the guy up, let it play out, man. We couldn't get the top guys in the market. You want to know why? 2 words. Todd Bowles. Who wants to coach with him? Who wants to make a name under Todd Bowles? Dave Canales, the exception don't make the rule. The reason why he got that job in Carolina, Dan Morgan. I went through this already. Don't you believe if Dan Morgan wasn't the GM, if he didn't get picked as the GM, do you think Dave Canales get that job? No. It's about relationships. I went through this already. So before you try to hype up the new OC hire, and this is no shot at Liam Cohen. No shot. No, this is nothing against him. Stop with the hype. Stop. Let it play out. You only gonna make yourself look goofy. Not me. You don't see me jumping up and down, clapping my hand. Oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, we got that guy. No, man. Even with Dave Canales in his first year, the offense was meh at best. It was bottom 15 in a lot of categories. Flash Gordon, what's up, man? I've seen the narratives by the Bucs fan base trying to push it out there. Now, as for the OC hiring, this had a lot to do with the Baker's input. They asked Baker at the Pro Bowl. By the way, shout out to Baker Mayfield. He was a Pro Bowl alternate. I mean, he wasn't selected at the beginning, of course, but there's been a few quarterbacks that opted out and he got picked. So he was a Pro Bowl alternate. So shout out to Baker Mayfield for reaching the Pro Bowl. And even though it's an alternate, you got it. You made it. So congratulations to Baker Mayfield. Shout out to him. Shake and bake. Can't take that away from him. There's been a multitude of quarterbacks to make the Pro Bowl as an alternate. And some people, and it's funny, like I can name multiple quarterbacks that made it as an alternate. And you won't get a lot of pushback. But there's a few players that made the Pro Bowl as an alternate. And if you mention their name, you'll get pushback because they don't like the player, which is understandable, but he made the Pro Bowl. No matter how you cut it up and justify, he made the Pro Bowl. Right? And making the Pro Bowl now is like making the All-Star game in the NBA. It's like, you really hype about it? I mean, so, but it's an achievement that a lot of players don't get a chance to make. So whether you make it as a starter or you make it as an alternate, you made it. Regardless of how you feel about the player. You can like him, you can dislike him, but if he made the Pro Bowl, he made it. Because you can't clap for one guy. He made the Pro Bowl as an alternate. And then the other players that made the Pro Bowl as an alternate, you don't like them, but you mention it, it's so what? Huh? So wait a minute. He made the Pro Bowl and you clap for that as an alternate. Okay, well, he made the Pro Bowl too as an alternate. So I don't care. He's still terrible. Okay, man. Okay, man. Okay, man. So back to the Bucs coaching staff as I wrap this up. What's next for the Bucs coaching staff? Too many holes, man. Unknown OC has some familiarity with Baker. Very little familiarity. And this was, I think somebody said it already. This was kind of like a Baker hire. And they asked what's input. He told them what he liked, familiarity, what he's comfortable with, and the guy Liam Cohen brings something that Baker has seen before. It's probably going to have some differences in Canales' offense. I don't know if he's going to. I don't know. I don't know about it, man. I mean, not that I don't know. If you're hoping for Sean McVay, there's only one Sean McVay, okay? And I think people kind of get caught up in that. And like, well, we got to get somebody from the tree. Yeah, you do. But everybody's not going to be that guy. So And as far as the Bucs special teams, I'm happy for that. I'm happy for the Bucs special teams to get some fresh blood. A new O-line coach, a new assistant head coach, run game coordinator. And it's Todd Bowles, man. He's not an attractive guy to work for. You know, and even though they got the new OC, it doesn't guarantee anything. You can't you can't guarantee it's going to be great. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not hyped. I'm not sad about it. I'm not hyped about it. I'm just kind of like wait to see what happens. Baker resigning is not guaranteed. But I do understand this part as far as the coaching. We're not going anywhere until we get a better coaching staff. So they can do all this with Baker and Mike and all. They can do all this stuff and still end up 8-9, 9-8. Now what? Now what? You don't know what you get. You don't know what you're getting until you see the finished product. So for the OC hiring, you probably want to take a chill pill. Just take a step back, take a deep breath, see what he can do with Baker if they resign Baker. You know what I'm saying? Take a chill pill. Because the unknown can get people excited and put too much expectations on the unknown. Just understand when you're dealing with an unknown, don't get too caught up in that. Just sit back. Why you didn't see me make a fuss about it or get all hype? Oh yeah, we got Liam Cohen. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm looking at the Bucs coaching staff as a whole. Yeah, I am hyped about a new special team coach. Now that one will probably be a separate video. I am hyped about that. A new special team coach. I am hyped about that. I ain't even gonna front. Because I've been banging the desk. I've been beating the drum for the special teams unit to get better. The return units, man. Terrible. Terrible. And nobody said nothing about it. Except for me. And a few others. So that's one thing I am excited about. Who we gonna get for special team? You know, it'd be crazy. We get a new special team coach, and boom, we get some great returns and a touchdown return for, you know, I'll be like, wow, just like that. I think a lot of us are happy that Keith Armstrong retired. I told y'all. Now go back and look at the special teams rankings across the board and on multiple sites. Have you heard anything about the Bucs return units being elite or good since Keith Armstrong been here? Atlanta Falcon fans told me about Keith Armstrong. They said your special team units, your return units will not be nothing. And lo and behold, when you look at Keith Armstrong's tenure at the Bucs, go look at the Bucs return units. Nothing special about them at all. At all. So I'm happy he gone. You know what I'm saying? But the Bucs, in hindsight though, when you look at it, the Bucs kind of needed some fresh energy in there. Canales bought some of it, but it just seemed like it was getting stale. It's been stale. It's been stale. And do you trust Todd Bowles to get some fresh ideas in there? Because if he's trying to look like the Sean McVay staff, it ain't happening. Todd Bowles would never be a Sean McVay type coach. He would never be a Dan Campbell type coach, a D'Amico Ryan type coach, a Jim Harbaugh type coach, a John Harbaugh type coach, a Mike McDaniels type coach. He will never be, even Dave Canales, he will never be that type of coach. A Mike McDonald, he will never be that type of coach. Look at him. Look at his demeanor. Look at his coaching demeanor. He doesn't come off as somebody that's trying to stay with the tune, right? trying to keep up with the Joneses. He doesn't seem like that type of coach. He would never be that type of coach. You know, being in just coming up with new ideas and new ways to win games, and you know, just thinking out of the box. He's just too bland. He's too straight lined. Right? So the Bucs coaching staff is in question. And you look at the season recap as I summarize the Bucs coaching staff up. They finished 9-8. They won a weak division. Let's be real. They NFC South was a weak division, right? That was a division with the worst team in the NFL. And then you had an Atlanta Falcons team that was just Arthur Smith was. I told you about that guy. And then you had the Saints with Dennis Allen, and they had one of the easiest schedules in the NFL, and they finished 9-8. And then you got us. So from a coaching perspective, they did what they had to do to win the division. They were the best coaching staff in that division. But the bigger picture, the coaching staff is still meh at best. I mean, think about what I just said. Meh at best. So if you had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, as we give this recap, what letter grade, or what number would you give the Bucs coaching staff on a scale of 1 to 10, or A through F? What is your recap? What is your overall thought? What is the number would you give them? What is the letter grade would you give the Bucs coaching staff as you look back at the season? They had some highs, they had some lows. What would you give them? I'd give them a C overall, because it was a weak division. They had some bad losses. They had some good wins, right? They won a playoff game, but it doesn't cover up the overall season. They overachieved, pretty obvious. They overachieved. So a C, because the offense was meh at best. The defense was good against the run, but they were terrible against the pass. They were good in the red zone, but you know, it was too much up and down, and the record speaks for itself. The record speaks for itself. It's like, I don't give out participation awards. I don't do that. I try to be as real as I can. I don't give out participation awards. Oh yeah, the Bucs won a division. It was a weak division. Everybody knew that. It was a weak division. 9 wins to win a division. Come on, man. Come on, man. What are we doing? Are you okay with that type of performance as a team? As a coaching staff? You okay with that type of coaching performance? They had a stretch. They went 1-6. Good coaching staffs don't fall in that type of hole. Yeah, you're gonna have some bad games. No team is perfect, but come on, man. 1-6, and you have some bad losses. Come on, man. And the C sounds about right because it fits the record. It fits the record. And that's just my personal opinion. You know, to each his own. You got yours, I got mine. I'm not mad at yours. Don't be mad at mine, because if you're mad at mine, you're not gonna win. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you have a problem with my letter grade, you have a problem with my C or my number 5 out of scale of 1 to 10, we can have a conversation about it. But if you're trying to convince me, it's not gonna work. I'm just telling you what I see and how I look at football. And so how I look at the coaching staff and the performance overall in the regular season, average at best. They left some meat on the bone. It's okay. And they have room for improvement. So giving them a C allows room for improvement. Now, you can give them what you want to give. You can give them an A. I can care less about that. That's not my opinion. That's yours. I respect yours. You respect mine. I'm giving the coaching staff room to improve. Because what do I look like in how I look at football and how I look at coaching staffs? Why would I give them an A? What? There's no room. So you mean to tell me? So I'm going to give them an A. That means winning 9 games is an A? What? What are we doing here? So I can go deeper, but I'm just giving that to y'all from a mathematical, academic, and a psychological perspective, right? Because too many ups and downs. Too many ups and downs. It was too many ups and downs. Started out good, had a terrible stretch, and then the end of the season, they had some good wins, and then they had the stupid performance against the Saints, and then the 9-0 win against the Panthers. See, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't sound like an A to me. That does not sound like an A. And the running game was terrible. Points per game was 20th in the NFL. Offense was 23rd, total all yards. It's just too much ups and downs. And C sounds about right. It literally, because think about this for a second. If they didn't make the playoffs, and this is the Marvel's what if multiverse. If they didn't make the playoffs, what letter grade you would have gave them? If they would have finished 9-8 and the Saints would have won the tiebreaker, what would you have said? Oh man, would you still give them a C? Probably would have. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's about right. It leaves room for improvement. Because, and then you look at the coaching staff now. So as of right now, this coaching staff is unknown, even though you know about Todd Bowles, but they got other spots to fill. You feel me? So even with a consistent Todd Bowles, that he's the one consistent piece, the coaching staff is just, it's too many unknowns going into the season. And it's already questions with Todd Bowles. So that's my overall recap of the coaching staff. I know I went into the players a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to jump back on that because the Bucs have made some moves. They lost some guys, and we got to see what Todd Bowles can do. We got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to get fired. He made the playoffs. He won a division. You're not going to fire a coach like that, right? But I think going into the season, I think his seat is still warm. I think his seat is warm. I don't think he can't take a deep breath and sigh of relief and be like, I'm good. Robert Anderson, what's up, man? Todd Bowles can't get comfortable, man. Because I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, another one of those 8 and 9, 9 and 8s, man. It's like, oh man, we ain't going over this guy. Think about that. If this man wins 9, if he goes 9 and 8 next season, what does that tell you? We're in a freaking hamster wheel. If we go 8 and 9, 9 and 8 again, I guarantee you, when the early predictions come out and what teams, I want to see how many analysts and media heads and ranking whatever, how many games you think they will have the Bucs winning next year? I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see that. With all the changes that we made or got going on, but I'll tell you this much: we ain't finna be near the top. We won't be in the top 10 with the team rankings going into 2024 or the record predictions. I can tell you that much. It all depends. Like I said, it's a lot of unknowns. But when you're going into the season with unknowns, man, it can go either way. Because like I said, I've named several coaches that are better than Todd Bowles. Easy. I can name several coaches that's better than Todd Bowles. Several with ease. Now think about that for a second. And y'all already know about how I feel about Todd Bowles. I don't have the highest confidence with him. I don't even like him with Todd. I don't even like him with Baker Mayfield. I don't like the pairing with Baker Mayfield. You know what I'm saying? Like, Baker, do his thing, keep doing what he do, keep improving, but I don't like him paired with Todd Bowles. Y'all get what I'm saying? I think Baker will have a higher ceiling with another coach, with a better coach. Todd Bowles is limited on how he coaches. You feel me? You put Baker Mayfield with Ben Johnson, what you gonna think about Baker Mayfield then? I'm gonna think really good about Baker Mayfield with Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick. You feel me? Baker Mayfield with Eric Bieniemy or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I would think more. I will give a bigger rising action. But with Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield, I just can't see the arrow going super high because of Todd Bowles. Baker's going to hit a ceiling with Todd Bowles. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Because of Todd Bowles' limitations, the fact that I can sit here and name coaches easily better than Todd Bowles, that is a problem. You know what's going to be a problem? You know what's going to be an embarrassing problem for the fan base looking at Todd Bowles? And it's like I said, there's nothing personal against Todd Bowles. If Mike Macdonald, who got hired by the Seattle Seahawks, if Mike Macdonald goes over there and wins in Seattle, Jim Harbaugh, back in the NFL, wins at the Los Angeles Chargers, Raheem Morris starts to win in the Atlanta Falcons, it's going to look at, we're going to look at Todd Bowles and be like, man, what are we doing? We're going to look at Todd Bowles like, man, what is this? What is this? What are we doing with Todd Bowles? I just don't like the Bucs organization with Todd Bowles as the head coach. Nothing against him personally. I'm just saying Todd Bowles he will never be an elite coach, in my opinion. He's not a type of coach that's going to get you to the highest level, because that's where I want the franchise to be. Now, if you okay with mediocrity, we not in the same boat. Does that make sense? I don't want Bucs fans to get offended because I'm all about the organization. But if you okay with mediocrity or mediocre coaching, have at it. I'm not selling for that. I'm not selling for 8-9, 9-8, and to beat my chest like, well, at least we got a winning record. No. I want, when they talk about the Bucs, they talk about the Bucs in contention mode. Okay? So if you beat your chest about 9-8 and 8-9, feel free to do that all day, every day. I'll pat you on the back and move you along. Get away from me. Get away from me. Because you like mediocrity. I want this franchise to be consistent and get to the point where we at the highest level every year. But I just don't see it with Todd Bowles. And then if you look at the coaching staff, the OC that we picked, and this is nothing against Liam Cohen, but come on, man, he wasn't the first pick. Y'all know he wasn't the first pick. He wasn't the second pick. He wasn't the third pick. He wasn't the fourth pick. He wasn't the fifth pick. Y'all know that, man. It's the same thing happened last year. Because nobody mentioned his name. All we heard about these other OCs, Ken Dorsey, Eric Bien. We heard about all these other OCs. And then Liam Cohen then gets brought up. The Bucs hiring Liam Cohen. Here come the Bucs fans. I knew that. I knew I was going to get it. Yeah, right, man. The market is the market. And Liam Cohen was not at the top. He was not at the middle. Y'all see the timeline. The Bucs just recently interviewed him. His name was not brought up. I know DeJuan Davis. I don't know how this works. I've been doing this for 6-7 years. I've been watching this. Out the blue head. Oh, now here come the Bucs fans. Come on, man. Cut it out. Stop the cap. He was not the first pick. If the Bucs had the choice if they had the choice of who they really wanted, you think they pick him? You think they pick him? You think they'll pick Liam Cohen, Kentucky OC, twice? You think they'll pick him with all the other candidates that was out there? Come on, man. So now, and then you're going to hear these narratives like, well, the other ones was terrible. Oh, my gosh. So let me guess. He was the best option. You see what I'm saying? They keep with these narratives. They will just to fit what happened with the Bucs. It's like, come on, man. So everybody else that was available was terrible. But the guy that we got, he was the guy the whole time. Oh, man. You can't make this up. I done seen it. I done seen Bucs fans push a narrative like that. I done seen them. They call all these other names out, and then we get this guy. It's like, oh, well, he was the best option anyway. What? and then downplay all the other coordinators that were available. Kellen Moore, downplay everybody else, but the guy that we hired, oh yeah, he's better than all those guys. What? Based on what? So I'm not hyped. I'm not mad at the hire. I'm not hyped about the hire. I'm sitting back and I'm letting it play out. Because I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Why do fans do that, man? They will downplay other guys that sign with other teams, the other OCs, and then the guy we signed, big up the guy that we signed like it's some miracle. Oh, we got the top guy. He was not the top guy. He was not the second guy, the third, or the fourth, or the fifth, or the sixth best guy on the market. Cut it with the BS narrative. Because if he was really that guy, don't you think better teams would have got him? Don't you think the better coaching staffs, the better front offices would have got him? Come on, man. Don't get me started with the fan base, man. They be so disappointing sometimes, man. Not all of them, but some of them. Can't even talk to them. Stay away from those type of guys and gals. It's just like last year. What up, Tony? What up, Tony? 2 Tonys in the building. But yeah, so let's get to the players. Let's look at the players. Let's look at the recap of the position groups, right? Y'all tell me what y'all think about them. So we saw 17 games in the regular season of the entire team. I'll start with the defense. We'll get to the offense at the end, right? I'll start with the defense. Let's talk about the secondary. The performance of the secondary, the 32nd ranked or the 31st ranked passing yards allowed. That is a position that we watched the entire season and a lot of games that we looked at as like, what is going on there? Too many injuries, inconsistency, lack of turnover, playmakers in the secondary outside of Winfield Jr. Because we're talking about the secondary, right? The lack of playmakers at the cornerback position really hurt the Bucs. The lack of a lockdown guy, a top tier guy, really hurt the Bucs. Because the better your guys can cover, the better your pass rush looks, and also the better your pass rush looks, the better your cornerbacks look. They work hand in hand. And we saw the secondary for 17 weeks. Winfield Jr. was the one consistent guy back there. Ryan Neal was not good. Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, multiple games they miss. Inconsistency. Can't get interceptions. Christian he did what he can do as an undrafted free agent. Kevon Merriweather, he got hurt. D. Delaney made some plays early in the season. And I don't know what happened with him. Too many inconsistencies back there. Lack of playmakers in the secondary outside of when Winfield. If here's the thing about NFL, and this is not a knock at Winfield Jr. This is the position, the value of a position. Cornerback will always be more valuable than a safety. Do you understand that part? Cornerback is one of the cornerstones of the team. Because in today's NFL, it's a passing league. And do you see the receivers coming out this season, this offseason, coming into the draft? Every year there's some dogs coming out. Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, Romeo Duze, Chris Polk, Marvin Harris Jr., the guy from Tulane. All these guys keep coming out every year. And if you don't have no cornerback that can play, if you don't have a one alpha, like one guy that you like, okay, we got confidence in him in man or zone, shell, cloud, zone blitz. We got confidence in this guy. And the Bucs don't have it. It was bad when Todd Bowles said, we can't play man. And I'm paraphrasing that. Got to keep playing zone. In the zone, the Bucs are not built for that. And they had to play zone because they would give up too many big plays if they play man. And when they play man, they give up big plays. So the performance of the secondary, even with Winfield Jr., this is the same as the Tristan Wirfs situation on the O-line. Winfield Jr. is the only one worth a damn on that in the secondary. And this is nothing personal. This is just what my hashtag. What does your eyes tell you? No matter how you try to justify, and no matter how many times you try to twist the story and make it sound good and put cake icing on it, you can put cake icing on the secondary. You can put cake icing on the secondary. You can put strawberries on the secondary. You can put scented candles. This secondary was terrible, and that's with Winfield Jr. It's just like the O-line situation. Even with Tristan Wirfs, he's the only one worth a damn, in my opinion. The same thing I think about the secondary. Winfield Jr. is the only one worth a damn. Excuse my language. You saw it. I can name on multiple games that you saw this. Like, what in the world? The Texans game, the Lions game, the San Francisco game. I mean, I keep going, folks. The Colts game. Michael Pittman Jr. was eating. Like, why is he catching all these balls? What are we doing? First game against the Atlanta Falcons. I'm like, why can't we get... I went through this already with the cornerback situation. I can easily name plenty of cornerbacks that I would rather have over Jamel Dean or Carlton Davis. Those guys, each one of them are making one. I think one's making $15 million, or well, as far as annual salary wise, and the other one's making like 14, something like that. But they're not even worth that. They hurt too damn much. It's always something with them, and they don't get interceptions. You saw Jamel Dean against the Lions drop a cold-blooded interception in his hands. Can't catch. We got to do something about our starting cornerbacks. One or both. They'll probably do something with one, which is probably Carlton Davis, but they got to improve in that area if they want to have a chance to compete at the highest level. Cornerback is one of the cornerstone positions. It's one of your pillars of the franchise. You need a corner. Zion McCullough played more snaps and he's not the starter. What does that tell you? Too much money into two guys that are not worth it. I would be okay if they keep one, but not both. You can't keep both of them together. You can't go into the season with both of those guys at cornerback. It ain't gonna work. You roll with Zion at one position and you draft another one. That's how I would do it. Right? And as far as the safety position, you need somebody to help Winfield Jr. Cam Kitchens or Cooper Dean. Dean John, the Iowa cornerback that can play safety too. Cam Kitchens. You need a guy that can get back there with Winfield Jr. to help him to make that defense more flexible. You can't come back with both of those guys at cornerback. You can't do it. You can't. And what grade would you give the secondary overall? 17 games in the regular season. What's your grade as I move on to the linebackers? What grade would you give the secondary? Another C. Another C. And I'm being nice. And that's because of Winfield Jr. A C minus. D plus, C minus. And that's sad that we have an all-pro safety in our secondary, and I can't even give him over a C minus. Damn. And Winfield Jr. is an outstanding player, but he's the only one that you can really be like, I got faith in that guy. So the Bucs got to draft somebody at the cornerback position. You play Zion next year. You get rid of one of them. You play Zion at the other position. You draft another guy. That's what I would do. I'm not the GM. I'm not a player personnel director. I'm not none of that. But I'm not, see, I couldn't be in the front office because I don't like holding on to a guy that is not going to get any better. I'm not afraid to move on from a player after 2 years. That's the problem with the Bucs. The Bucs like holding on to guys because I'm trying to prove a point. That's the problem with Jason Light. Like to hold on to guys 1 year too long. He's not it. You gotta be able to identify that in 2 or 3 years. See, I would have moved off one of them after year 2 or 3. Oh, you gotta go. I got somebody else. You can't be ranked in the bottom 7 in passing yards allowed, and you pay those guys. It's just like the receiver. You paying Godwin and Evans, or if that's the case, and your offense is still not scoring. It's the same as the secondary. You pay Dean and Davis, and your secondary give up too many big plays. Why are you paying them? Get rid of one of them. You can't come back with both. Can't do it, man. Can't do it. Kool-Aid McKinstry, Quentin Mitchell from Toledo, the cornerback. I was been watching the Senior Bowl. Quentin Mitchell. Go watch him, folks. He's really like that from Toledo. He's going to be a first-round pick too. Watch. Give me somebody else. Cooper Dean Johnson. Go give me somebody else, man. Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry. I know. I see him. I'm just sick and tired of that combo. That combo ain't working. All right, so now we're going to move to the linebackers. Lavonte David contract. He's available. They got to do something with that. Devin White up for contract. I don't know what they're going to do with that. Nate Wiggins. Yeah, I like Nate Wiggins is nice too. Clemson. I love watching football. And I can't wait to dive into this. This is a really good draft class, folks. Let me make this clear real quick. This is a really good draft class. This draft class got depth. All caps. It's a good draft class, folks. If you can't get a couple guys out of this draft class, shame on you. A lot of positions got some good depth. And the positions that the Bucs need got some depth. It might not be top heavy, but it got some depth. O-line, D-line, tight end, corner, safety, got some depth. So let's get to the linebackers. KJ Britt. What we gonna do there, folks? What are we gonna do there? What we saw that. So for 17 games, we saw Lavonte David, the one consistent guy, right? KJ Britt came along towards the end of the season. He started to get more snaps. Devin White, inconsistent. Probably won't be back. But what is your performance? Because Lavonte David did a great job. He did a hell of a job. And where would this defense be without Lavonte David, especially on the screen passes? Especially on the screen passes. You can't throw screen passes. You see how many times this season teams try to run a wide receiver screen or a running back screen or a tight end screen. That does not work on Lavonte David. Stop doing it. Teams, they don't get this, man. They don't understand this dude is really like that. And he's still playing at a high level. And we saw it for 17 games. Devin White, too inconsistent. I think this season was not probably one of his worst seasons. And then when KJ Britt came in, he showed some fight in him. He got some dog in him. He tackles well. His coverage is okay, but he looked better. And with Devin White not playing, I didn't see a drop-off. I did not see a drop-off at the linebacker position. When KJ Britt played, did y'all see a drop-off? Did you notice Devin White missing? Hold on, so I'll be back. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to keep it 100 with y'all. Did you notice anything missing? I didn't. Sorry about that. Savasi Dennis is sitting there too. So the Bucs are, I think he had a red shirt. This was his red shirt season. But yeah, Lavonte Davis stayed healthy for the most part, right? Devin White just stayed hurt too much. So I don't think Devin White's coming back. What grade would you give the linebacker group? What's the grade for the linebacker group? That's even with Devin White, KJ Britt, Lavonte. What grade would you give the linebacker group? Yeah, but I would say B because I like KJ Britt. I like him. I want to see Savasi Dennis more, but he's basically a red shirt, B minus. Because Lavonte David, man, and KJ Britt came on strong at the end. So B sounds about right. And that's even with Devin White's non-factor, basically, right? Did Devin White make any big plays? He had that one interception, but it was thrown right to him. He stayed hurt too much. D-line. The D-line. That's everybody included. That's outside pass rusher, and that's the guys hands in the dirt. For 17 games, we saw the D-line. They can stop the run, but teams chose to pass the ball on us. So that run defense was kind of inflated a bit much. But Joe Tryon, Logan Hall. I don't think they it, man. That's 2 picks 2 years in a row. Now Jason Light got to play catch up. You should have drafted Travis Jones, but he didn't do it. He has a chance again to make up for those mistakes that he made. And the reason why I circle those 2 guys, because those are 2 young guys that we expected to have a jump and be a significant piece on that D-line. Because if we hit on both of those picks with Kalijah Clancy and Yaya Dabi, boy, you feel me? Or what's so crazy is if Joe Tryon and Yaya Diaby played like, if Joe Tryon and Logan Hall play like Clancy and Yaya Diaby, do you still think we draft Yaya Diaby and Kalijah Clancy? That's a question, folks. If Joe Tryon and Logan Hall played really well, do you still think we draft Yaya Diaby and Kalijah Clancy? Would that first round pick would have been on something else? So in other words, Tryon playing like Yaya, Logan Hall playing like Clancy. Do we still draft Clancy and Diaby? And those 2 picks have been a disappointment, and those 2 picks hurt. That hurt the Bucs D-line because now you got to play catch up. And they got 2 picks last year with Clancy and Yaya. But it looks like they got to go back and draft another guy on the D-line. That's what they should do, In particular, outside pass rush, because the Shaq Barrett contract is terrible. Shaq Barrett was irrelevant this year. I know he had some things going on with, wife and everything like that. Situation with family and all that. But his play on the field dropped dramatically. And it did not help that Tryon basically stayed the same. And it did not help that Logan Hall did not make a jump in year 2. And he got the steady William Ghostin, but he's not a pass rusher. Greg Gaines, what did he do? Pat O'Connor. Come on, man. You see what I'm naming here, folks? Russell was okay. I'm sorry. Mike Green. I'm sorry. Green. But we need some more talent there too, man. Vita, he got nicked up a little bit. He's not a pass rusher, but he got some sacks. But he can sometimes, he don't play all the snaps. The Bucs need more speed on that D line, man. They need some guys, man. They need some guys, man. They need some guys in the trenches, man. What letter grade would you give the D line? As you looked at that D line this past season, no double-digit sack guy, no defensive lineman or outside pass rusher with over 8 sacks. Sacked by committee, but once again, pass rushers are a premium position of a franchise. Cornerback, pass rusher. You need those two pieces for your defense to be good. What would you give the defensive line? That means outside pass rusher and the D line. What grade would you give them? Another C? Sounds about right. Sounds about right. I can see that. That sounds about right. You can maybe probably give a B, but the reason why you probably won't give a B because of the lack of development of Joe Tryon and Logan Hall. So yeah, C sounds about right. C plus, C minus, C plus. That sounds about right because of the lack of improvement of Logan Hall and Joe Tryon. Right. Now we're gonna get to the offensive side of the ball. So let's start with the tight ends. What you think about the tight end group? What letter grade would you give Durham Payne and Cade Otton and Cole Keith? The overall grade of the tight end group. Cade Otton, he has some flashes. He has some drops. I don't look at him as a blocker. I think he's a number 2, a tight end number 2. A good complimentary tight end. But in today's NFL, I just teams are not, oh my gosh, we got to guard Cade Otton. You know what I'm saying? But he's not bad. But the tight end group, once again, probably a C minus at best. Y'all notice the trend here with the Bucs, right? Y'all notice the trend? Y'all see the trend going on, right? For much of the season, Cade Otton was not really doing much, right? Until the end of the season, he started catching a lot of balls, but his impactful plays, they come and go, right? He'll have some drops. I don't think he's explosive. I think the Bucs can use another tight end that's probably got a higher ceiling. I think Cade Otton is a good guy. I think he's a jag. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't get a lot of separation a lot. He's not a quick twitchy tight end, if that makes sense, right? But I don't have a lot to say about the tight end group. It was just they were just there. Cade Otton had his moments, towards the end of the season, but the Bucs can upgrade there too, or get another guy. I wouldn't say upgrade, but you can get Cade Otton with another guy and get back to your 12 personnel setup, running back 2 tight ends, because the Bucs can't even run that correctly. Go look at the Bucs 12 personnel setup. 2 tight ends, one running back. It's almost like tight ends is like running backs. You need 2 of them. You need 2 tight ends and you need 2 running backs. We'll get to the running backs next, but you know the tight end with Cade Otton, man. You know the tight end. Let's keep it real. So yeah, start to see there's a trend here. Running backs. What would you give the running backs? Chase Edmonds, Rashad White, Keyshawn Vaughn, Sean Tucker. 31st ranked running game in the NFL. Even though the running game did look better towards the end of the season, but that's not saying much. Rashad White almost got 1,000 yards, but He didn't get it. And getting 1,000 yards now is like all you gotta do is average 59 yards a game, something like that. So it's not to be hooting and hollering about, you know what I'm saying? 50. If you reach the 1,500 yard mark, that's when you're talking about something. And I don't see Rachaad White being a 1,500 yard rusher. I don't even see him being a 1,300 yard rusher. I can see him being a between 800 to a 1,100 yard rusher. But that ain't, like I said, that ain't nothing to jump up and down for. We saw him throughout the season run up to the line and not know where to go at. I will say this: you can't be the 32nd ranked or 31st ranked running attack and have a B. How the hell do you give a terrible running game a B? And I know it has a lot to do with the O-line, and we'll get to the O-line in a second next. But I have to give him a D. You know, from a running perspective, I mean, if you want to split it up, but I have to get that running attack a D, man. I've never seen a terrible running game get a really good grade. I've never seen a fan base. Maybe we might be the first fan base to do this, but I've never seen a fan base give a bad running game a really good grade. Yikes. You know what I'm saying? B plus. I mean, a D plus maybe. D plus at best, because the running game went good, man. Yards per carry wasn't good. Rachaad White not seeing the holes correctly. He ran the ball pretty good towards the end of the season. I mean, Green Bay, terrible defense. Jacksonville, terrible defense. Eagles, they just was washed. So you have to put some context in that. But D plus, I'll give the running game a D plus. Because you can't be 32nd, 31st in NFL in those categories and be a B or an A. That's ridiculous. Because that means you're convincing yourself that the running game was good. If you give them above a C, you're telling yourself, yeah, the Bucs running game wasn't good, but it's really good. It just wasn't right. You're convincing yourself now. B, you give the running game a B based on what? What is your grading criteria? Were you watching the same game that we were watching? I can't even give them a C. Too much of the season was not good. The running game is not good. Lack of explosiveness. Chase Edmonds was hurt quite a bit. Keyshawn Vaughn, for whatever reason, we know the reason, but they finally got rid of him. So another one of Jason Licht's misses that set the franchise back 2 or 3 years. The Bucs need another running back. Blake Corum, maybe. You know, we need an explosive running back, man. We need a Jahmyr Gibbs. We need a Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's be real. We got our guy, steady, third down, catch the ball, whatever. But we need an explosive running back. We do. Explosive with speed. And we need to get that. So yeah, D plus for the running back group. O-line. Let's talk about the O-line. 17 games. They had some ups and downs. Luke Gedeke played better than his first season. They moved him from guard to tackle, so he played better. Which that's what you want to see. You want to see the arrow going up with Luke Gedeke, right? Tristan Wirfs, of course, we already know what he is. But the biggest issue with the Bucs O-line, and that's with Tristan Wirfs, in my opinion, with Tristan Wirfs and the improvement of Luke Gedeke, the Bucs O-line is still bottom 10. Because of the interior. Robert Hainsley, Aaron Stinney, Matt Freer, the rookie Cody Moch, one of the worst interior O-lines in the NFL. And you're not going to get good unless you get that improved. They're not good at run blocking. They're good at pass blocking, but I think Mopar Buck put it out there. Baker Mayfield got sacked 48 times, and he got away from like 20 of them. If Baker Mayfield was an immobile quarterback, he would have been sacked like 65 times. He got sacked 48 times, and he escaped like 20 of them. Because if Baker Mayfield wasn't mobile, shout out to Baker Mayfield and his moxie for getting away from sacks, multiple sacks, getting away from those sacks and making first downs, extending plays, getting the fourth down throw, whatever the case may be. That's one thing I would say about Baker Mayfield. I know it's not tangible, but he just did it. He got away from a lot of sacks. He got away from a lot of sacks. I mean, I've seen plays Baker Mayfield make. The guy was coming right at him. Yeah, I don't know how he got out of it. Now you go back and watch. You be like, oh, okay. Hard to bring down. Baker Mayfield hard to bring down. I'll tell you that much. I'm like, dang, he can't bring that little. He like, I call those type of guys. They're short, but they're stocky, right? I call them power packs. Baker Mayfield's a power pack. Short, stocky, a stocky build like a Russell Wilson, Drew Brees. He's not small like Bryce Young or Kyler Murray. He has a chunky build. So I call those guys power packs. Baker Mayfield is he's a legit power pack. Now he runs like he's fast, but he's really not. But he's a power pack. Power packs, because I'm short too, so I'm not a power pack, but Baker Mayfield is a legit power pack. He is hard to bring down. He is a scrappy, moxie, whatever you want to call that, grit type guy. And those guys are hard to bring down. Now, the problem with those situations, those type of guys, they get hurt because he tries hard. I play with those type of guys. They try really hard. They go above and beyond their abilities. So that's why we're seeing Baker Mayfield get nicked up on the back end of the season. He started getting hurt, shoulder, ribs, because he tries hard. And those are the type of guys that get hurt. He tries hard to make plays, to get out of sacks and stuff like that. And then when he got hurt, he couldn't get out of some of those sacks. And then he didn't trust his arm talent. We saw that in the Saints game. We saw that in the Panthers game. Both Panthers games. We saw that in the Saints game. The last game, the second game we played against Saints, when we lost the game 23-13. Both Panthers game. We beat the Panthers 21-18. And in the last game of the season, a couple weeks later, we beat them 9-0. You saw that in those games that he did not trust his arm talent. So that's the scary part about Baker Mayfield. That is the scary part because, and I will get to the quarterback. If he has a really good O-line, in particular the interior, and we saw this in Cleveland, and I'm going to say this again, if you want Baker Mayfield at his best, you have to get that O-line top tier. That O-line needs to have at least 2 Pro Bowlers and a possible 3. Right now, the Bucs got 1, and that's it. They need at least, at minimum, they need at least 2 Pro Bowlers. And with a possible 3. So it's like, if you play spades, what you got, man? Man, I got 3 in the possible. I got 2 in the possible, right? That's what the Bucs need. Guaranteed 2 Bucs and a possible 3. Or guaranteed 2 goal linemen, guaranteed 2 good old linemen, and a possible number 3. That's how you're going to get the best of Baker Mayfield. I saw it in Cleveland. Because if you get the O-line improved, that helps him out and the running game out. And it makes him look better. Now, of course, he's not a high-end type quarterback as far as putting up points and scoring a lot of points because that's not his style. He's a scrappy guy. Try really hard, grit, grind, moxie, whatever you want to call it. Moxie. I don't get that part, but he's never been a high-scoring quarterback, so you're not going to get that out of him. I've seen enough of that. I've seen enough of Baker Mayfield. But when you got a really good O-line and you keep the throwing down to a minimum, you got something with Baker Mayfield. You know what I'm saying? So the Bucs interior part, man, it's bottom 10, which brings the O-line ranking down. Right? So what grade would you give the O-line? Run blocking, pass blocking together. Baker Mayfield had 48 sacks. The run game was bottom 2. Baker Mayfield got sacked 48 times. He got hurt. What grade would you give the O-line? C-, in my opinion. And I'm being nice. I'm being nice, folks, in some of these areas. I'm being nice. Because I'm trying to give room for improvement. I'm not saying that, they at the bottom like F, but I'm gonna say C-. I'm gonna give the O-line the benefit of the doubt to a degree. And I might be a little bit too nice, but I think C- makes sense. There's a trend with the Bucs here. If you haven't picked up on the trend, folks, by now, you just not paying attention, and you have not been watching football. You have not been watching the Bucs. And at the end of this conversation, I want to see if anybody picked up on the trend here. Okay, so C-, and I'm gonna say this, the caveat: C- at best. And I'm being nice as hell. C- at best. I'm gonna emphasize this part. When I say at best, that means that's the best I'm gonna give them. That means that's the best I saw out of them the entire season. C- at best, which means I can give them a D+ and not bat an eye. Not bat an eye. I can give them a D+ and be like, whatever, and move on with the conversation. But I'm gonna give them a C- at best. Room for improvement. They have to get the interior. They really need interior and pass. It's almost like a no-brainer the first 2 rounds. And as much as I would like to have another cornerback or safety with Winfield, Cam Kitchens, but you gotta address the O-line, D-line the first 2 rounds again, man. Again. Overall, overall grade. We're not splitting up anything. We're not saying, okay, well, pass blocking, they good over here, but run blocking, they terrible. No, man. Even if you give them a B and the run game is an F, what does that equate to? A C. We're not splitting up the O-line. It's overall play. 17 games. What did your eyes tell you? Hashtag, what did your eyes tell you? What did your eyes tell you from an overall perspective of the O-line? Not splitting up the plays. Straight up, overall, run blocking, pass blocking, put them together, stir them in the pot, pour it out. What is the letter grade or number that you'll give them on a scale of 1 to 10? Come on, man. Let's not overthink this. It's a simple recap of the season, outlook of how they look, the grade, the number you give them. It's all we're doing here. We're not going into detail. We're not doing all that extra stuff. Just tell me what you saw. That's all I need you to do. Don't overthink this conversation, folks. Do not justify what you're saying. Say it and stand on it. Do not try to be like, well, they're good at stopping in the red zone, so I got to give them a... No, man, overall. Cut it with the semantics, man. I'm not here to play the numbers. I'm not here to play the word game. I'm not here for that. This is an overall recap of hashtag, what did your eyes tell you? That's it. It's simple. 1 + 1. It's a simple conversation, folks. Do not overthink this. They need to upgrade that center and the guard position, and we can work with something. Receivers. Let's talk about receivers. Evans, another 1,000-yard season. Godwin got his 1,000 yards. Trey Palmer came along. Devin Tompkins. Whatever, man. Dave Moore, he has contributions. Yeah. Russell Gage out for the season. 17 games. We saw the Bucs receivers, man. Evans with some drops. Godwin with lack of separation. He was not getting targeted by Baker Mayfield for a long stretch period of the season until his wife said something. And once Evan got 1,000 yards, and Godwin started getting targeted a lot. It was weird. Man, hold up. Evans had some crucial drops too. Lack of focus. contract situation with Evans. He came in with the contract situation on his mind throughout the season. He thought the franchise was going to look out for him before the season started. They did not do it. And he played with a chip on his shoulder. He had a great season. Not his best season. But he had a great season. And high insight, man, the Bucs should have signed him. High insight, right? It might come back and bite him in the butt with Mike Evans, man. Because now he's played his way into a big contract. And the direction of the Bucs and the position that Mike Evans is in, he clearly want to get paid. Now, if the Bucs do that, they are risking a lot moving forward. So either way, I understand both parties. I understand Mike Evans' position. He thought the franchise was going to look out for him going into the season. They didn't do it. So he played hard. He didn't get hurt. He didn't get no major injuries, none of that stuff. And he had a good season. Tied for first in the NFL in touchdowns. He's never led the NFL in no category. Passing yards, catches, touchdowns, yards per catch. He's never led the NFL in anything. He's just been consistent. So for him to be tied for number one with touchdowns was pretty cool after all these years. And at no point of his career, he was ever the best receiver. At no point of his career, he was never the best receiver in the NFL. And now think about that, folks. That's crazy. 10 straight seasons of 1,000 yards, and not one season he was considered the best receiver. Hell, I didn't even hear his name in the top 5. I've never heard in the football conversations I've been in, I've watched from afar. I never seen Mike Evans' name getting mentioned with the Antonio Browns, the Fitzgerald. It's crazy. Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hills, Keenan. I mean, it's number of receivers year in and year out. You will hear about these guys, and they won't mention Mike Evans. Now Mike Evans is up for a contract, and the Bucs did not sign him. On top of that, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris Godwin's cap hit is like $27 million. So that's restructure all the way. And then if you restructure Chris Godwin's contract, yeah, you give him more signing bonus, but you push bigger cap hits down the road. Do you want to do that for Chris Godwin? Do you want to minimize his cap hit for this season to sign Mike Evans, which creates a Mike Evans cap hit down the road and a Chris Godwin cap hit down the road? Big cap hits for both of them. You give them sign-on bonus to lighten the salary cap up, the salary cap hit, and to give them more money down the road. Add void years. That means you're kicking the can down the road. The money's guaranteed. They're going to get paid the money. It's just that you're pushing the cap hit. You're making the cap hit much bigger as you push the money down the road. It's a fine line you got to play with these contracts, because when you give that guarantee money, and you say, "Well, here's your guarantee money," and sometimes certain contracts you'll give a lot of it up front, the guarantee money. Cut your check, $25 million guaranteed. We'll cut it right now. We'll take the big cap hit now. Or you can say, we'll give you $13 million of the $25 million guaranteed, and we'll take the other $12 million and we'll push that and we'll split it up into $4 million or $6 million for the next 2 seasons. You see how that works? So with the restructure, you're just taking the money that you owe him, the $27 million, the cap hit, and you're saying, hey, we'll give you this much money signing bonus, right? roster bonus, signing bonus, and they will take the rest of it and will push it down the road. So yeah, they can make Chris Godwin cap hit $12 million. Whatever number they want to choose. And the rest of the money, they kick it to next season, or they'll split it in two and say 2025 and 2026. We'll split the $15 million up into $7.5 million cap hits. Or we'll split the cap, we'll make the cap hit bigger for 2025. You know what I'm saying? So it's a dangerous game that the Bucs are playing with the receiver position. And the Bucs, they spent quite a bit of money on the receiver position, and in the scoring did not match the money. If that makes sense. Am I making sense, y'all? You put money in the receiver position, but the scoring is not there. I'm trying to add that up. Why so much money in a position group? Why there's more money at the receiving group than the O-line? I couldn't wait to talk about this position group right here, because when you just take a step back and look at the financial part of it and then look at the production part, scoring, it doesn't add up. You're dumping a lot of money in the receiving group, but you're bottom 12 in scoring? That's not good business practice. That's not great business practice. If you have a product that you're putting money into and the results are not there, why do you keep dumping money into it? Because they paid Russell Gage too, which was a bad contract. I told y'all about that contract. 3-year, $33 million. It was a bad contract. He was the best receiver on a bad team. They had to throw him the ball. Trey Palmer. Dumping a lot of money where Russell Gage, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans dumping all that money into the receiving group, but you're not scoring points. But your O-line is suffering. So my question to Jason Light and his minions, all caps, what is the priority here? Is it the receivers or the O-line? Why do you keep dumping money into the receiving group and your O-line keeps suffering? I don't know, man. I don't know. The money does not match the production as far as points per game. And now we're in a situation where our franchise receiver, a number one receiver, he can literally command $25 million, and you can't really say no. What, you gonna throw him a 2-year, $50 million contract? What about $42 million guaranteed? And the rest of it, you can make incentive. But I think he wants to get paid, and you can't get mad at Mike. I ain't mad at Mike. One of my favorite receivers. You can't get mad at Mike. And the possibility of him leaving to another team, it's there, folks. There are several teams that can afford him, that can give him the money that he's asking for. There's rumors out there, narratives that saying $25 to $30 million. Can you imagine the Bucs giving Mike Evans $28 million a year, $27 million a year? Can you imagine that? For a team that's not in Super Bowl contention. Can you imagine? And I hope Mike Evans get what he wants to, wherever it is. Can you imagine the Bucs paying Mike Evans $27 million, $26, $27, $28 million? Remind you, the Bucs are a team that are on the opposite side of competing for a Super Bowl. They're not on the side that's competing for a Super Bowl. They're on the side that's milling around. But I thought this was a reload. Is it a rebuild or a reload, folks? A rebuild on the fly or a reload on the fly? Because if they reload, and they reload with Mike Evans and they sign everybody, does that put them in Super Bowl contention? Because that's what a reload is, right? You reload and you go at it again. How close are the Bucs to the NFC Championship Super Bowl? How close are they? Because if you give Mike Evans his contract, $26, $27, $28 million, $30 million, that means you're telling yourself, hey, we there. We are there. You hear me? And the reality is, Talladega Nights. I'm on fire. We're contenders. No, you're not. You're not contenders. The coaching staff changes, OC, staff on the coaching staff, the player position. You got too many holes to be considered a contender. The overall makeup of the team compared to the other teams that are contenders are not even the same. Let me help y'all out a little bit. Some of you might be a little lost. Contenders mean you don't have a terrible or bad O-line, or bad run game. You don't have multiple holes in the coaching staff. You don't have a mediocre coach. Okay? Your money is not all over the place. Right? I'm just helping y'all. I'm just trying to give y'all the reality of the Bucs. And this is why I'm having this conversation with the season recap. I want y'all to get y'all minds in the reality. Don't follow the narrative and don't try to make something up that's not there. You ever heard of the term called fool's gold? You think you're on fire. I love using that analogy. You think you're on fire. You think the team is really good, but it's really not. And we'll get to that at the very end of the conversation. But I'm trying to get y'all prepared mentally to see the Bucs for what it is. If you convince yourself that the Bucs are contenders, more power to you. All I'm doing is giving you the outlook of it, the layout of the season, the recap of the season, and you're telling me your grading system have the Bucs as a contender. So, and we'll get to the grading system at the end, and we'll average everything out. And when you look at it, you're gonna be like, oh, okay. And remember, you gave the letter grades out. I gave mine out. If you've been writing yours down, at the end, grade it out. And if it equals contender, more power to you. But if it does not equal contender, if it does not equal a contending team, I rest my case. I've been beating the drum all season long, even at 9-8. But we'll get to that. So with the Bucs receiving situation, Trey Palmer, you got to get more consistent. I don't know what they're going to do with Dave Moore. Chris Godwin contract restructure. And what do you pay Mike Evans? What can the Bucs afford to pay? $3 years, $75 million? What letter grade would you give the Bucs receivers? What letter grade would you give the Bucs receivers? I'm going to say a B. In my opinion, a B. A solid B. Because I'm factoring everything. Yeah, the yards and all that, but is it producing points? That's what it got to be. If it produced points, they would have got an A. It was like they're getting their yards, they're getting their catches, but the points, where are the points? It's not equating to a high-scoring team. And I get it. There's a multitude of reasons why the Bucs are not a high-scoring team, but in today's NFL, it's a passing league, which means a lot of your points are going to come from through the air. So, and the Bucs, I believe, average 21.2 points a game. That's like 20th in the NFL, something like that. So it's not producing a lot of points, but the money is there, though. The money is there. They put money into the position. I think they need to make a pivot and put the money somewhere else. I hope they resign Mike Evans. I do. But from a franchise perspective, cost-benefit analysis, you might want to get Baker protected. And he starts with the O-line. And then you can also help the offense by getting a better D-line too. More pieces there too. So, but yeah, B is good. And last but not least, quarterback. Well, actually, special teams. Matter of fact, what's y'all grade for special teams? We ain't even gonna go into details with that because sideline Tompkins, punt return, kick return. Now the kicking was good. Chase McLaughlin, and Jake Kamada. So you got to factor that in too. So factor in the kicking game, the punting game, the field goal kicker, and the punt return unit, kickoff return unit. What's your grade there? That's everything. Special teams, everything. C sounds about right, right? C sounds about right because there's an F in the return unit, punt return and kickoff return, and then the field goal kicker, Chase McLaughlin. He did a really good job, and then Jake Kamada, he has a good punting game. Sometimes he outpunted the coverage sometimes. And then the punt return coverage unit and the kick return coverage unit was pretty decent. So C sounds about right. Nothing to be ooh and on about. So C sounds about right. You see the tree here, folks? F? No, I wouldn't say F because of the kickers, the punter and the field goal kicker. Jake and Chase brings that F to a C. Now, if you just base it on kickoff return and punt return, F. You know? So I'm gonna say a C overall. C overall. And then quarterback. Baker Mayfield. We saw him for 17 games in the regular season, and we saw him for 2 playoff games. But we talking about the regular season recap. Playoffs, he did a good job in playoffs. In the playoffs, he did a really good job in the Eagles game. And then the Lions game, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions. I know one was tipped, and the other one was a bad throw. Can't turn the ball over, right? Because we didn't give previous quarterbacks the excuse for turning the ball over, because if Brady threw an interception, it's Brady's fault, or if Winston threw an interception, it's Winston's fault, right? So Baker is not the exception to the rule. The rule goes, if you throw an interception, whether it's tipped or not, or receiver ran the wrong route, it's the quarterback fault, right? Is that what we're doing, right? Or we're not doing that for Baker. He's an exception because a lot of people like him. So it's not his fault that he threw 2 interceptions in the playoff game. It's not his fault. It was the play caller fault. And in the last interception, it was just desperation. Is that what we're doing? We're giving him the benefit of the doubt on interceptions, because if we do that, that opens up another can of worms. If we do that, that opens up another can of worms. You feel me? So what would you give Baker grade-wise overall? He had some good games. Minnesota game, the Bears game, and then he had that stretch 1-6. The Buffalo Bill game wasn't great. It was okay. He had some stinkers. The Texas game, he played well. Jaguars game, he played well. Green Bay game, he had a perfect quarterback rating, 158.3. He didn't play well against the Saints or the Panthers. He had some games where in the first half, I don't know what was going on in the first half with Baker Mayfield. And that happened a lot this season too. In the first half, that he didn't play well in the first half, but in the second half, especially the fourth quarter, he kind of turned up a little bit. But a lot of factors played in too. So what letter grade would you give Baker? He had 10 interceptions in the regular season, 20 touchdowns. His career high of 4,044 yards in a year when the quarterback play was down. He had his best season, which is, I'm just adding context, folks. Patrick Mahomes' worst season, he still had more yards than Baker Mayfield. At Patrick Mahomes' worst is still better than Baker Mayfield's best. That's scary, folks. Baker's not a bad quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. But let that sink in for a second. Patrick Mahomes' worst year was Baker's best season. And he still had more yards than Baker Mayfield. So we have to be careful with the, like I said, I'm gonna reiterate this. I want to make this clear because I don't want people thinking that, what's going on, Buckles Locker? You don't like Baker? He's not terrible. Not terrible at all. I never said he was terrible. But he's not elite. Middle of the pack. You'll get some good games out of him. The problem with Baker Mayfield is consistency. And also, we have real live data. We have real live data, and we have a track history on his production passing wise. He's not a high-end, high productive quarterback. And I'm going to repeat that. This is not a knock on Baker. Look at the history. Even up until this point, his best season, 4,044 yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's good. That's a 2.8 to 1 interception ratio, which is good. But the overall landscape of Baker Mayfield, he's never been a high-end quarterback, which means your roster needs to be high-end to get him to where he needs to be at, which is playing at a better level. But if you're asking Baker Mayfield to be a high-end, high-productive, high-scoring quarterback, show me where that has happened in his career. Y'all understand what I'm saying? And you can get mad at me all you want to. That's fine. I understand that because you don't want to hear that side of it. But all you got to do is go look at the numbers. The numbers will tell you that he's not a high-end, high-productive, high-scoring quarterback. Which brings me to this topic. What do you pay Baker Mayfield? Knowing what you know about him. As a fan of the Bucs, if they re-sign him, they really need to be careful. Because we saw for 17 games, his highs, his lows, his mids. And we also saw it before he got to the Bucs. And think about this. His best season is pretty much the worst part of the top end quarterbacks. And that's still better than Baker Mayfield's best season. I think the best version of Baker Mayfield is a top 10, top 5 running game with a top 10, top 5 O-line. I believe that's the Baker we need to see. I want to see Baker in that situation again. I don't want to see Baker Mayfield in a situation like he was last season because this is the results that you're going to get. You're going to have some, shake and bake, you know what I'm saying? You're going to beat your chest and all that. You're going to hype yourself up. And you're going to look up and it's going to be like 8, 9, 9, and 8. And he's going to barely scratch 4,000 yards in a passing league. And don't give me this, Daniel Jones got $40 million. So what? The Giants regretting that right now. And also, if you convince yourself, like these other Bucs platforms or media members putting out this weird narrative that he's going to have a ton of suitors, we went down this conversation already. What team outside of the Bucs is going to be beating down the block for Baker Mayfield services and to pay him now what, $40 million? That's his agent doing that. His objective is to get his client paid. He got to leak something out there. Teams going to want him. Other teams going to pay Baker Mayfield $40 million. Okay. The only other team I can see doing that is the Falcons. Because of the Falcons hired Zach Robinson as the OC, who worked with Baker Mayfield because he was the passing game coordinator and the kind of quote unquote OC kind of ish. And Raheem Morris was there when Baker was there too. And now, mind you, Baker was only there for like 4 or 5 games. But that's a similar system too. And Atlanta has a ton of money. I'm just saying, folks. I'm just putting it out there. Atlanta got a ton of money too. They ain't got no big time contracts at the quarterback position, or at the running back position, or at the receiver position. Now they paying. I think they're paying their guard or tackle, but they don't have no. They got Jesse Bates. They paying him a contract. I think AJ Terrell might be up for a contract, but they can afford Baker Mayfield, and there's familiarity there with Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson, the OC and the head coach. That's the only other team I can see legitly thinking about signing Baker Mayfield. And that would be, if that was to happen, I'm just giving y'all a scenario. If that was to happen, oh Lord, and you can't even get mad at Baker. If the Atlanta Falcons say, hey, Baker, we'll give you a 4-year, $150 million contract. Four-year, 160. 3-year, 120. With some escalators in there, with some incentive base that, well, we can give you a contract up to $40 million a year, but we would do that, but it'll be some escalators in there. You reach some checkpoints, it can get to a $40 million contract. How would y'all feel about that if Baker Mayfield goes to the Atlanta Falcons for the money? What would y'all do about that? How would you feel? Would you be mad if Jason Light and his minions, Mike Greenberg and John Spivak, they don't come up with a contract that's good enough? That means Canales going to the Panthers, Harold Godwin, Joe Gilbert to the Panthers, Brad Isaac, Baker Mayfield goes to the Atlanta Falcons. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. That's a possibility, folks. And you can't even get mad at Baker Mayfield. You can't get mad at him. He like, I want to get paid. And look, money talks, BS walks. But are the Bucs willing to overpay for a quarterback that has never shown consistency? That means you're paying Baker Mayfield for his ceiling, his potential, because it's similar to the Shaq Barrett situation. Before coming to the Bucs, Shaq Barrett was not a high-end pass rusher. And then he had his best season and got paid. Then after that, it went backwards. Same situation with Baker. His best season of his entire career, 7 years, right? His best season, looking for that contract like most players do in the contract season. They play their best season. Doesn't matter what position. And then they get paid and they drop off. I'm just giving y'all scenarios. Should the Bucs resign Baker? Sure. But here's the thing, if they do it, oh boy, I would be really careful with that contract. Because you got other problems on the team that needs to be addressed. That's not even counting. We're not even mentioning Winfield Jr. contract. We're not mentioning Tristan Wirfs contract extension that can happen this season or next season or the season after that, where he's going to reset the market when Tristan Wirfs get his contract. He's worth every bit of it because he's shown the consistency from day one. Winfield Jr. is worth every bit of the top 3 safety, paying safety in the NFL. He's probably going to be number 1 for, reset the market. He's worth every bit of it. Tristan Wirfs and Winfield Jr. should get paid at the top of their position. But putting Baker as a top 10 paid quarterback would be asinine. This can end up like the similar situation in the Geno Smith situation. Geno Smith had a great year. He got paid, and then he regressed his second season. And Baker Mayfield, you can see it can happen because he's never shown consistency. If Baker Mayfield was that guy, do you think Cleveland just lets him go? Like I said, Baker Mayfield, he has talent. He has limitations too. If you keep Baker Mayfield, make sure the contract is incentive-based heavy, which will allow you to build the roster up. What letter grade would you give Baker Mayfield for the season? C plus? Okay. C plus. So in all, as we look at the entire group, coaching staff, position groups, did y'all catch the gem I was dropping? Did y'all notice the gem that y'all created? Did y'all notice what y'all created? The topic of conversation. Do you understand your team now? Take your letter grades and average it out, and you tell me what you think about the Bucs as a team, coaching staff and position groups together, not individual, as a team. What does that tell you about the Bucs? Did you notice the one consistent thing about the Bucs? Do you see the bigger picture, what I've been telling y'all about for the last 2 years? Do you see it yourself? I literally, y'all helped paint this picture. I just brought y'all to the canvas. Now you see why I say transitional year. Now you see why I say we're not contenders. You see it yourself. You graded the team yourself. Coaching, position groups, you graded the team yourself. That's why one of my hashtags is, what is this? Where are we going? As my daughter's favorite term, or her favorite words are, where are we going? If you okay with this, we don't have the same football thought process. If you okay with average at best, have at it. Have at it. You can have all the average you want, but over here for me, I'm trying to get to contender status. So the point I'm making is the trend that you notice about the Bucs team. You have 2 B's and a bunch of C's, some D's, some F's. They are an average team at best. Inconsistent and average at every, just the team, from the GM to the head coach to the coaching staff to the position groups, all the way down. And yes, we have a couple players individually are really good, but that's not the team. 1 or 2 players don't make the team better. You need a team effort. The team needs to be structured. Coaching staff, player position groups, and the money needs to make sense. What means your money needs to be flexible. And the problem with the Bucs is, and people think that we got a ton of money until they realize that who we got to pay. Baker, Evans, Levante, Winfield Jr., possibly Tristan Wirfs. There will be some restructures, which will create dead money. Ryan Jensen, that's dead money. Russell Gage, possible dead money. Carlton Davis, possible dead money. Shaq Barrett, possible dead money. Still got the remnants, the stink. Still got the stink. We got to get rid of the stink. Because even though we're moving forward, there's still going to be some lingering money that's dead money. Like I'm going to run this down again. Carlton Davis, Shaq Barrett, Russell Gage, Ryan Jensen. That's dead money there. If all goes well and how it's supposed to go, those four are going to create dead money. And then you got to have money to sign your rookie class, about $8 million. And then you got to sign your big guys, your big time guys on your team, extensions or new contracts. And then that's not going to leave any money to sign good free agents. We're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel, the Matt Freers, the Aaron Stanleys again. And we're going to be right back in the same position where we were last year or the year before. 8, 9, 9, and 8. So, super chat. As I wrap this up, Mopar Buck, $20 super chat. Shout out to Mopar Buck. There's no area of position the Bucs excel in. We simply have great players in spots, which is the confusion on sense of direction. The better teams excel in multiple areas, even coaching. The team as a whole grades out as a C. Well, there you go. Hey, y'all painted the picture. I just helped y'all. I was the instructor. I set the class up. I put the canvases out there, and y'all painted y'all own picture. You graded the team. I didn't grade it for you. There you have it, folks. Season recap of the Bucs. A season recap of the Bucs. The Bucs are an average team at best. They got some work to do this offseason. They got some work to do, folks. I can't wait. The Senior Bowl, the East-West game just finished, so I'm going to go back and watch that. I'm going to start doing my college scouting, watch some more tape, and get ready for free agency and the draft. I will say this, though. I think this offseason is going to be more fun from a video standpoint than last season because of the holes that the Bucs have on the offense, on the offensive staff or the coaching staff, and the holes that the Bucs have at the position groups. It's a pretty good draft. Free agent groups, it's pretty good. Draft is pretty good with depth. Some good free agents out there, which I don't think we're going to be able to get outside of our own guys. But I think it's going to be fun, folks. I believe this is going to be fun. And of course, the division's still weak. So it's not like we got to win a ton of games to win the division. So the bar is set low. 9 games again, folks. I'm going to start with that. This is pre-draft, pre-free agency. 9 games will win your division. The first team to get to 9 wins the division. As of right now. Let me put that in there, folks. As of right now, my early 2024 season, I'm going to put it out there in the universe. 9 games will win you the NFC South, folks. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to give you my prediction of the Bucs record and all that because of so many things have happened to the Bucs. But just looking at the division, 9 games, first team to 9. Unless I see anything significant happen with the teams, 9 games gonna get you the division. And the Bucs got a first place schedule. Well, you know what? You win your division, you get the hard schedule. And if you've seen the teams on that schedule, it won't be easy, folks. It will not be easy. The draft is very important, folks. I told y'all, these next 2 drafts, 2023 and 2024, I said it last year, folks. Pay attention. I said these next two drafts, I said in 2023, before the season started, I said the 2023 draft and the 2024 draft are going to be very important for the Bucs. And here we are, 2024 draft, a couple months away. Well. I'm not a fortune teller, but I do think ahead, folks. I am a forward thinker. And I started thinking about this in 2020. Here we are. Y'all here with me 4 years later, and I'm sitting back smiling. The truth shall set you free. Hashtag facts over feelings. With that being said, thank y'all for joining a live streaming of a live reaction of the Bucs recap. And I didn't mean like a recap of every game. It was just more of a recap of the season in general. I didn't want to do a game by game recap. No way, no how. I had a couple hours to spare before I get back in my grind mode, study mode. Always got to keep that brain churning. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section. You think the Bucs are an average team at best, or you think they're an above average team, contenders? What do the Bucs need to do moving forward? Next priority, you got your OC. Now you got to get on. Now you got to get to Mike Evans and Baker and the rest of those guys, and then you got to get on to the draft. And I'm gonna have more videos talking about the draft position groups, starting out with the trenches again, folks. Again, O-line, D-line. You know how this works. Every year, I start talking about them first. And there's a couple guys that can definitely help the Bucs, and the Bucs might have to trade up to get a couple of these guys, even in the first round. Sometimes you just got to get the impactful guys. You know? So, with that being said, fire those cannons. Seize the day. Raise the flag. Hashtag transitional year. Again? Hashtag what is this? Hashtag what is this? Hashtag probability versus possibility. Hashtag reality over optimism. What is this? Hashtag why? Hashtag shake and bake. Hashtag pay Mike. Hashtag facts over feelings. Hashtag what does your eyes tell you? Hashtag don't get mad at me. I don't play the game. I just talk about it. Hashtag change is coming. Hashtag do you like mediocre? Did I miss any other hashtags? I'll see y'all again sometime next week, man. Or y'all hear from me sometime next week. I'm gonna try to put out my first video. It'll be an early video. We'll talk about the draft, and this time we'll talk about the positions that the Bucs should focus on, and we'll throw some names out there. We'll throw some players out there in college that the Bucs probably should be looking at in the first round, in second round, in third round, in fourth round, in fifth round. So y'all have a great weekend. The rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe. Don't get in no trouble. I want to see y'all back here next week. Signing out. Deuces.